Rachel Lawson had always been the dependable one. At 30, she was the kind of person her family could count on, whether it was helping her younger sister, Olivia, with last-minute favors, or stepping up whenever her parents needed assistance. Living in Dallas, Texas, she had worked tirelessly to build a stable career in marketing, often putting her family's needs before her own. That's why when her mother, Linda, called late that night, her voice trembling, Rachel's heart sank. "Sweetheart, it's your dad," Linda choked out. "He had a stroke. We're at Baylor Medical Center. You need to come now." Rachel felt her stomach drop. Her father, David, had always been the strong, stubborn type. The thought of him lying helpless in a hospital bed made her pulse race. "Of course. I'll be right there," she said, already reaching for her car keys. But as she grabbed her purse, her eyes fell on the open suitcase beside her bed. Tomorrow morning she was supposed to fly to Florida for a long-awaited family vacation, a trip she had saved for months. None of that mattered now. Without hesitation, Rachel texted her boss to inform him she wouldn't be going on leave and rushed out the door. She drove through the quiet streets of Dallas, anxiety creeping into her chest. Something felt off, but she pushed the doubt aside. She had no idea that by the next morning, everything she believed about her family would shatter. Rachel rushed into Baylor Medical Center, her heart pounding as she scanned the waiting area. She expected to see her mother in tears, her father fighting for his life. But the room was empty. Frowning, she hurried to the front desk. "I'm looking for my father, David Lawson. He was admitted for a stroke earlier tonight." The receptionist checked her system and shook her head. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but there's no patient by that name." Rachel's stomach twisted. Maybe there was a mistake? Maybe he was transferred? She immediately called her mother. No answer. She tried Olivia. Straight to voicemail. Confusion turned into panic. Gripping her phone, Rachel was about to try again when a notification popped up. A new Instagram post. From Olivia. Her breath caught in her throat as she opened it. There they were, her entire family, smiling on the beach in Miami, drinks in hand, posing in front of a luxury resort. Olivia, her parents, even her aunts and uncles. The family trip she had saved for, planned for. The one she had just canceled. The caption read, "Best family vacation ever. So grateful for this time together. Beach life. Family first." Rachel felt the world spin. They had lied. There was no stroke, no emergency. They had used her love and sense of duty against her, to exclude her. Shaking, she tried calling again. Voicemail. Within minutes, Olivia had blocked her on social media. Tears burned in her eyes. This wasn't a mistake. This was a betrayal. And Rachel was about to find out just how deep it went. Rachel sat frozen in her car, gripping the steering wheel so tightly her knuckles turned white. They had planned this. This wasn't a simple misunderstanding. Her family had intentionally deceived her. Anger and betrayal surged through her veins as she dialed her mother's number again, straight to voicemail. She tried her father. No answer. Olivia? Blocked. Frustration clawed at her chest as she scrolled through her contacts and landed on one name, Aunt Denise. Unlike the others, Denise had always been kind to her. If anyone would tell her the truth, it was her. Denise picked up after 2 rings. "Rachel, hey sweetie, why aren't you here?" Rachel's stomach dropped. So she knew. "Where exactly am I supposed to be, Aunt Denise?" Her voice was tight with anger. Denise hesitated. "Oh, honey, I thought you weren't coming. Your mom said you had to cancel because of work." Rachel let out a bitter laugh. "Work? That's funny because Mom told me Dad had a stroke." Silence. A long, heavy pause. Then a sigh. "Oh, Rachel, I had no idea she told you that," Denise said, her voice suddenly filled with guilt. "I just assumed." "Don't," Rachel's voice was sharp. "Just tell me the truth. Did they ever plan on including me?" Denise hesitated again. And that pause told Rachel everything she needed to know. I don't think so," Denise admitted quietly. They, used your ticket money to upgrade Olivia's hotel suite. Rachel felt like she had been punched in the gut. Her own parents had stolen from her. And this was only the beginning. Rachel sat in stunned silence. They had taken her money, lied to her, excluded her. And for what? To make sure Olivia had a better experience on a trip that was supposed to be for the whole family? Her fingers trembled as she ended the call with Aunt Denise. She needed answers. And there was only one person left who might tell her the truth. Grandma Eleanor. Rachel drove straight to her grandmother's house, her mind racing. Eleanor had always been the only person in the family who treated her and Olivia fairly. If anyone had seen this coming, it was her. The moment Eleanor opened the door and saw Rachel's tear-streaked face, her expression darkened. "Oh, sweetheart, I had a feeling something like this would happen. Come in." Rachel sat on the couch, her hands gripping her knees. "Grandma, they lied to me. They took my money and left me behind, and I don't even know why." Eleanor sighed, walking over to a small wooden desk in the corner. She pulled out a thick folder and placed it on the coffee table. "Because, Rachel," she said, her voice steady, "this isn't just about a vacation. This has been happening for years." Rachel's stomach twisted as she opened the folder. Inside were bank statements, receipts, and handwritten notes. Proof that her parents had been secretly using her inheritance to fund Olivia's education, car, and even part of her house down payment. Rachel's breath hitched. This wasn't just favoritism, it was theft. And suddenly, everything made sense. Rachel's hands trembled as she flipped through the documents. Page after page of proof. Withdrawals from accounts she didn't even know existed. Money funneled into expenses that had nothing to do with her. She looked up at her grandmother, her voice shaking. "How long have they been doing this?" Eleanor's lips pressed into a thin line. "Since you were a child, sweetheart. Your grandfather set up that trust fund for both you and Olivia, but your parents, they found a way to convince the trustee to release money early for family expenses." Rachel swallowed hard. "But those expenses were all for Olivia." Eleanor nodded. "Her private school tuition, her college, her car, even part of her wedding. Meanwhile, you worked 2 jobs just to get through school." Rachel felt sick. She had struggled while her sister had everything handed to her, all with money that was supposed to belong to both of them. A sudden realization hit her. "Wait, the money I saved for the vacation, do you think they took that too?" Eleanor sighed. "I checked the transactions. Your payment was refunded. Into your mother's account, not yours." Rachel's stomach twisted. They had never planned to take her on that trip. They had stolen her money, lied to her face, and left her behind. Her jaw clenched. "I'm not letting them get away with this." Eleanor placed a reassuring hand over Rachel's. "Good, sweetheart, because I have a plan." And for the first time that night, Rachel felt something other than pain. She felt ready to fight. Rachel barely slept that night. Every memory of being overlooked, every sacrifice she had made, every time she had been told to just understand came rushing back. But now she had the truth, and she wasn't going to stay silent. The next morning, she did something she never thought she'd do. She posted everything on social media. She uploaded the screenshots of bank transactions, trust fund withdrawals, and the refund for her vacation ticket that had gone straight into her mother's account. Her caption was simple. "Imagine finding out your parents have been stealing from you since childhood, while treating your sister like royalty. Lied to me about my dad having a stroke just to exclude me from a trip I paid for. Family, huh? Betrayal." Within minutes, the post exploded. Relatives, family, friends, and even coworkers began commenting in shock. Some refused to believe it, while others, especially her cousins, started sharing their own stories of favoritism in the family. Then her phone rang. Her father. She hesitated before answering. "Rachel, His voice was cold. "Take that post down, now." "No," she said firmly. His voice darkened. "You're embarrassing this family." Rachel let out a bitter laugh. "No, Dad, you embarrassed this family when you lied and stole from me. I'm just making sure the truth is finally out." For the first time in her life, she wasn't afraid of them anymore. Rachel sat in her grandmother's living room, scrolling through the endless flood of messages. Some were supportive, others were furious. Her parents had gone into damage control, calling relatives to spin the narrative in their favor. Then a new email popped up. From Uncle Frank. Rachel's breath caught as she opened it. Attached were financial records proving her parents had taken over $250,000 from her trust fund. Money that was meant to be hers. A second email followed, this time from the family attorney. "Rachel, we need to talk. Your grandmother and Uncle Frank have decided to take legal action." Before she could respond, another call came in. Her mother. Rachel hesitated, then answered. "How could you do this to us?" Linda's voice was shaking with anger. Rachel clenched her jaw. "How could you do this to me?" Her mother scoffed. "You're ruining everything. Do you even realize what you've done?" Rachel's voice was steady. "I'm getting back what's mine." "We were protecting you," Linda snapped. "You don't understand how money works. We were keeping it safe." "Safe?" Rachel interrupted. "For Olivia?" Silence. "That's what I thought," Rachel said coldly. Before Linda could say another word, a knock sounded at the door. Rachel looked outside. A police officer stood on the porch, an envelope in his hands. Her mother's voice turned frantic. "Rachel, listen to me." Rachel hung up. It was too late. The truth was already in motion. 3 months later, Rachel sat on the porch of her grandmother's house, sipping a hot cup of coffee. The Texas sun was warm, and for the first time in years, she felt at peace. A lot had changed since that night. Her parents had been charged with financial fraud after Uncle Frank and the family attorney presented undeniable evidence. Their assets were frozen, and they were forced to return what was left of Rachel's stolen inheritance. Olivia, desperate to save herself, had cooperated with authorities. She wasn't innocent. She had benefited from the stolen money. But since she wasn't directly responsible for the fraud, she walked away with nothing more than a tarnished reputation. Rachel, however, had gained something far more valuable than money. Clarity. She no longer craved her parents' approval. She no longer wanted to be part of a family that only valued her when she was useful. Instead, she focused on herself, rebuilding her life on her own terms. She had used part of her recovered inheritance to start a scholarship fund for young women from underprivileged backgrounds, a way to ensure that no one else had to struggle the way she did. As she watched the autumn leaves drift in the breeze, Grandma Eleanor smiled at her. "Your grandfather would be proud of you, sweetheart." Rachel smiled back, finally understanding what true family meant. Her parents had taken so much from her, but in the end, she had won something they never could. Freedom. Lessons learned from the story. Family isn't defined by blood, but by loyalty and respect. Rachel spent years trying to earn love and acceptance from parents who only valued her when she was useful. In the end, true family was the one who supported her. Like Grandma Eleanor and Uncle Frank. 2. Trust should never be given blindly. Rachel believed her parents had her best interests at heart, but they had been deceiving her for years. This teaches us to pay attention to actions, not just words. 3. Standing up for yourself is never selfish. Rachel was always expected to sacrifice for her family, but when she finally stood up for herself, she gained justice and self-respect. It's okay to walk away from people who don't treat you right. 4. Financial awareness is crucial. Rachel had no idea her inheritance was being stolen. This highlights the importance of knowing your financial rights and not assuming others will manage things fairly. 5. Justice takes time, but the truth always comes out. Even when her parents tried to manipulate the situation, the truth prevailed. No matter how deep the betrayal, Those who do wrong will eventually face consequences. 6. The best revenge is success and freedom. Rachel didn't let bitterness consume her. Instead, she built a new life, free from manipulation, and even helped others through her scholarship fund. True victory is moving forward stronger than before.